Hey friend, please subscribe. 1 second for you. Big deal for me.
The pastor had just said, "Do you, Kara, take this man?" when a brief 2-second siren chirp from the cruisers outside cut through the chapel, sharp enough to still the room without panic. Everyone flinched. A few people turned in their seats. I didn't. I was already looking at Lauren. She was 2 rows ahead, sitting stiff on the bride's side. Her shoulders didn't move. She didn't even glance back. I stared at the curve of her jaw, waiting for her to meet my eyes. She didn't. I was on the groom's side, 2nd row, fists balled in my lap like a supportive brother-in-law. At least, that's what I was supposed to be. Behind my teeth, though, I was grinding molars and replaying one number in my head. 46,700. 46 grand in wedding charges tied to my name, deposits, rush fees, floral upgrades, a damn drone crew. All of it hidden under family expectations. All of it pinned to me. Tyler Jensen stood up front in a fitted tux that looked custom. Shiny shoes, big smile, gelled hair, smug as ever. Kara looked nervous but happy. She had no clue. I almost felt bad. Almost. 2 rows back on the far end, I saw them, Detective Ruiz and her partner Hall, both in quiet gray suits. They'd come early and sat like guests. Hands folded. Calm. I knew that posture. They were just waiting on the moment. Nate Park, my oldest friend, stood near the aisle, camera on his shoulder, mic clipped hot. He didn't smile. He gave me a tiny nod. That was the signal. The organist faltered when the siren stopped. The music dragged to a limp halt. Donna turned in her seat and hissed something at Clark, probably about ruining the moment. He just blinked at her like always. Then the chapel doors opened. Ruiz and Hall stepped in, badges out. Half the room froze. The other half pretended they weren't staring. "Tyler Jensen," Ruiz said, voice smooth and professional. "We need you to come with us." Silence. Tyler blinked once. Then he laughed, this weird panicked chuckle that didn't fit his face. "What is this? A prank?" he said. Then, like a little kid, he pointed straight at me. "It's him." He set me up. He's been bitter ever since the bachelor party. I didn't even blink. Didn't need to. Nate was already filming. The receipts were loaded. The screenshot of the forged signature. The vendor contract with my name in bold. And the final nail, Tyler's wallet on the table. Wide open, with my card inside it. If anyone doubted the truth, the projector hanging above the aisle could flip on in 5 seconds. Footage cued, audio synced. But I didn't move. Just stared at Tyler like I was watching a rerun of a show I used to like. Quick note: before listening, share in the comments which city or country you're watching from, and let's continue. The pastor looked completely lost, hands still raised like he didn't know whether to pronounce them married or condemned. Kara stepped back, her smile cracking. Tyler tried to laugh again, but nobody laughed with him. "Lauren," he said, looking right at my wife, "tell them." You know I didn't do this. But Lauren didn't speak, didn't flinch, didn't even blink. Donna stood up in a huff. "This is a wedding. You can't just barge in like this." Hall didn't raise his voice. "Ma'am, please sit down." She sat. It was the first time in years I'd seen Donna shut her mouth. Ruiz took another step. "Mr. Jensen, are you going to come quietly or—" That's when Tyler made the dumbest move of his life. He tried to run, swung for the side door like he thought someone would open it for him. Hall caught him fast, pinned him in 3 seconds flat. Guests gasped. Someone dropped a phone. Kara whispered something and backed away from the altar. I just stood there, breathing slow, like I had all the time in the world. Tyler kept shouting, but nobody listened anymore. Back then, I was 35 and trying to be the kind of man people could rely on. Name's Ethan Cole, network operations lead at Westview Medical Group. It sounded impressive, but mostly I was just the guy who patched broken systems at 3 a.m. and reset doctors' passwords when they forgot them for the 4th time that week. Lauren and I had been married 6 years. We weren't flashy, just steady. We'd bought this narrow townhome on Trenton Street in northeast Columbus. One of those three-story boxes with no yard, bad insulation, and a maple tree out front that dropped leaves like it was personal. I'd spend weekends climbing a ladder to clear the gutters while Lauren organized drawer dividers or scrubbed tile grout like it was sacred. We kept things neat. That was our rhythm. Lauren worked HR at a property management firm. She ran things tight, on time, under budget, fully documented. Her calendar had color codes. Her socks had matching bins. She didn't miss birthdays, dentist appointments, or billing cycles. But what she really didn't miss, ever, was anything her family needed. If Donna mentioned a sink leak or a weird charge on her cable bill, Lauren had already called someone before the sentence finished. Tyler, her younger brother, was the opposite of structure. He floated in and out of real jobs like they were rumors. One day he was a fitness coach, building a brand. Next week he was promoting energy supplements or filming abs-in-the-mirror videos for some app no one used. He wore smartwatches and flexed sneakers but had no pay stubs. Never a W-2. Never talked taxes, just vibes. And Donna, my mother-in-law, ran the family like a polite dictator. You couldn't point it out without sounding paranoid, but she ran it. When she said a provider should step up, she made it sound like a compliment. But I felt the jab every time. I paid the bills, cleaned the drains, stayed up patching software for a medical group I didn't even like, and it still wasn't enough. Clark, her husband, just nodded along and kept the game on. Good guy, maybe, but silent when it counted, especially when Donna opened her mouth. I used to joke at work that my actual job title was Defender of Weak Passwords. It got a few laughs, but underneath that joke was the truth. I was tired all the time. Every call from my boss felt like a test I had to pass to keep the lights on. We weren't drowning in debt, but the mortgage on the Trenton place didn't exactly leave breathing room. Lauren and I split bills fair, but I handled the extras. Car repairs, trips to her parents, anything that didn't fit neat in a spreadsheet. And somehow, even after all that, I still felt like I was one step behind what I should be doing. Tyler started hanging around more once he got serious with Kara. He'd pop in during Sunday dinners like it was casual, then drop comments like, weddings are actually a smart investment. Brings families together. Boosts brand recognition. I didn't ask what brand recognition meant. He wouldn't have had a real answer anyway. Kara was quiet, kind, nervous in a way that felt real, not performed. She had a steady job as a dental hygienist and did bridal makeup on weekends. Said it helped her save for a house. I respected that. She once told me Tyler was so creative and that she loved how he sees the bigger picture. I smiled and nodded, but what I really thought was, he doesn't even pay taxes. What picture are we talking about? When they got engaged, Donna reacted like she'd just won a cruise on live TV. She planned a dinner at that Italian place with the white tablecloths and pre-printed menus. She made Kara stand up and show her ring, even though the stone was barely bigger than a Tic Tac. The next day, she texted the whole family with a countdown to Jensen Day, like it was a national holiday. That's when the tone shifted. Suddenly, every conversation was about venues and caterers and Pinterest boards. Tyler kept hinting at experiences and premium vendor tiers. Kara tried to rein him in, but Donna steamrolled right over her. "Ethan," Donna said one night while we were cleaning up after dinner, "you're blessed with that salary. These are the moments you don't get back, like helping pay for a wedding with some sacred calling." I rinsed the dishes in silence, jaw tight. A week later, Tyler asked if I had any vendor recs. Said Kara loved rustic settings and something with good drone angles. I didn't answer. He didn't notice. Lauren and I had a fight that night. Small one, but it stuck. I asked her why Donna kept acting like I was funding the whole thing. She didn't miss a beat. "Because you're reliable. That's not a bad thing. I'm not a donor. I'm your husband," I said. But she'd already moved on to checking the registry Kara had started. Dinner got cold on the table. Looking back, I can't say there was a single moment where it all tipped. It was more like slow erosion. Tyler dropping hints, Donna making backhanded compliments sound like tradition, Lauren nodding along like none of it was unusual. Still, I told myself it was just noise. Families are messy. Weddings get dramatic. I'd seen friends go through worse, but the signs were there. Tyler's smile too wide when someone else picked up a tab. Donna's voice too sweet when talking about my salary. And Lauren, loyal to her family above all, kept saying, "We're in this together," even when I knew damn well we weren't. It was a Tuesday morning in late March. I was halfway through a firewall patch for the outpatient network when my phone buzzed twice, back to back. Fraud alert. First charge was $6,800 at a place called Brenton Taylor's. Never heard of it. Definitely never walked through their door. At first, I thought it was phishing. I tapped into my account directly, bypassed the alerts, and there it was. Real charges. All cleared, all recent. And that was just the beginning. I called the bank right away. The guy on the other end had that slow, patient voice they use when they know your world's about to tilt. "Looks like the first hit was about 18 days ago," he said. "We've got a $12,900 venue deposit, Redwood Vista. Then $5,400 to Koya Catering. $3,750 to Timeless Shutter Company. More scattered, $1,100 florist, $700 signage, $450 to a guitarist, and about 8 smaller service transactions, all tied to this card ending in 5530. "That's my card," I said, "but I didn't make any of those." "We'll freeze it immediately," he replied. "Our fraud team will investigate. Might take a few weeks, but we'll issue a temporary credit while it's under review." I hung up, heart thudding in my ears, pulled out my wallet just to see it for myself. Card was right there, right where it should be. So whoever did this didn't steal it. They duplicated it, or ordered a replacement using my info. That meant someone close. Someone who knew enough to fake my signature, my address, maybe even answers to my security questions. I went back to the patch, but my fingers wouldn't stop shaking. My screen blurred from blinking too hard. I closed the laptop and just sat there, staring out the clinic window at the parking lot. The same silver RAV4 kept circling like it couldn't find a spot. I watched it loop 3 times before I stood up. That night, after dinner, I told Lauren. I started with the number, 46,700, and let it sit. She barely reacted, didn't blink, didn't gasp, didn't ask if I was okay. Instead, she said, "That's probably the vendors. Kara's parents are covering a lot." "No," I said. "It's not Kara's parents. It's on my card, the one I never handed out, never used for anything wedding-related. Every single charge matches vendors your mom's been posting about for the dream rustic weekend. Same caterer, same chapel." Lauren's jaw tightened. "So you think my brother stole from you? From us? That's what you're saying?" "I'm saying it's not a coincidence. You're jumping to conclusions. Tyler told me Kara's folks are splitting the cost. Well, they didn't pay with their card." I'm looking at the statement. Lauren. She crossed her arms, staring through me like I was the problem. "So now you're accusing my brother of fraud? Because of a few charges you think match?" "It's not a few. It's all of them. And it's not just matching. These are exact, down to the package level. Drone footage was on the invoice for Timeless Shutter. You think that's common for a wedding video? Maybe they just put you down accidentally." That one hit me, like I was overreacting to a little mix-up, like I hadn't spent the last 10 years protecting our accounts like a guard dog. I stood up, slow. "They didn't accidentally charge 46 grand to me, Lauren. Someone used my name. On purpose." She stared at the floor for a second. "Tyler said he was covering deposits and getting reimbursed through partnerships. Brand deals," I almost laughed. "And that sounds legit to you?" "I don't know," she snapped. "But I know he's not out here stealing from family." "That's exactly what he's doing. And the worst part? You're defending it like it's just miscommunication." Something in me twisted when I said it. The words felt like betrayal, but not of Tyler, of the version of Lauren I thought had my back. She dropped her arms, walked to the sink, and started rinsing a plate. Not because it was dirty, just to do something. "Don't start a war over a hunch," she said quietly. I didn't respond. I went to the spare room, pulled out the fireproof folder where we kept financial stuff, and printed the last 3 statements. I highlighted every charge, color-coded them. The next morning, I filed a police report online before heading to work. I attached everything I had: screenshots, card activity, vendor addresses. I didn't put Tyler's name in as a suspect, not yet. I just reported the fraud. By 7:15 that evening, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. "Mr. Cole?" a steady voice said. "Detective Maritza Ruiz. I'm following up on a financial fraud report filed under your name." I stepped outside onto the porch and sat on the stairs. "Yes, that's me." She asked clean, clipped questions. When I noticed the charges, who had access to the card, if I'd recently ordered a replacement, any connections to the vendors listed. She didn't lead me or try to make me feel better. She just asked, like facts were all that mattered. At the end, she said, "We'll request business records from the vendors, including payment authorizations. Evidence matters more than feelings. That's what sticks in court." That line stayed with me. Evidence matters more than feelings. I said thank you and hung up. Later that night, after Lauren had gone to bed early and pretended to sleep, my phone buzzed again, this time with a group text from Donna. "So proud of our kids. God provides Kara and Tyler's engagement photo" was attached. Sunlight, fake laughs, the whole Pinterest vibe. I sat on the couch staring at the message. I could have replied. Could have sent the redacted statement or just typed out the dollar amount with a middle finger. But I didn't. I opened my laptop and made a folder titled Fraud Evidence. Then I started organizing everything I had. PDFs, emails, screen caps. Every click made my jaw tighter. Every file I added felt like a piece of something breaking loose inside me. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to post a rant or drag Tyler on social media. I was going to be thorough. I was crouched behind a patient kiosk, sweating through a cheap button-up, trying to coax a half-dead router back to life, when my phone buzzed in my back pocket. Nate's name. I answered with one hand still in a cable bundle. He didn't waste time. "Guess who just booked my platinum wedding package with drone add-on?" I didn't say anything. I didn't have to. "Yeah," he said after a beat. "Tyler and Kara. Full coverage, vendor access, timeline management. Payment marked prepaid. Want to guess the billing name?" I pushed the panel closed, stood up slow. "Let me guess. Me?" "Nope. Just says paid. No payer listed. But it came in 2 weeks ago. All the vendors I usually work with are already looped into a shared folder. It's a full rollout. Kara copied your wife's email. I figured I should call." He waited. I didn't answer. "You good?" he asked, voice lower now. "I'm fine," I said. "Just..." I wiped my forehead with the inside of my elbow. "It's a mess." So I told him everything. Not a rant, not venting, just facts. The totals, the dates, the card freeze. Lauren defending her brother like I was the one jumping to conclusions. Donna's backhanded digs about being blessed. I gave him the full list of vendors. Redwood Vista, Koya Catering, Timeless Shutter Co., all of them. Nate didn't interrupt once. When I finished, he said, "Send me your fraud report." And the vendor list. As their videographer, I get full back-end access. Contract terms, payment schedules, contact names. I'll document what I can without blowing cover. "I'm not asking you to go rogue." "You're not," he said. "I'm plugging in mics and keeping my eyes open." That's Nate. I'd known him since college. He used to shoot punk shows for gas money. Now he charged $4,000 a day for weddings. Still the same guy. That afternoon I emailed him everything. He replied with a thumbs up and a Dropbox link already filling with folder screenshots. Work was the next hit. My manager flagged me during our weekly check-in. Said my background check was being rerun, standard for network admins with high access, but that a hold had been flagged on my personal credit file. "It's temporary," I told him. "Identity fraud. I've got a case number and a detective on it. He didn't blink. Handle your business. You've been solid here. I just need transparency. I gave consent for HR to contact the detective directly. Sent them the report number. Copied the email. Done. That night, as I was bringing the trash to the curb, our neighbor Carver flagged me down. Retired cop, Vietnam vet. Kept a metal detector in his garage and called it exercise. "You look like a guy who hasn't slept," he said, cracking open a Budweiser. "Something up?" I gave him the short version. Card fraud, family mess, wedding costs charged to me. He took a sip, nodded. Family crimes are the messiest. People think emotions are proof. Paper trail, or it didn't happen, I said. "I've got folders now." He laughed. "Good. Keep going." Next morning, Nate sent me a screenshot from the vendor group email. There was a contact sheet attached, standard for coordination. Midway down was the line that made my stomach flip. Billing contact, Ethan Cole, address 218 Trenton Street, email e.cole@westviewmed.org, phone XXX-XXX-XXXXXX, every bit of it accurate, every line lifted from real accounts. I stared at that screen like it had punched me. This wasn't someone guessing. Someone knew. Someone typed me in like I was a sponsor, like this whole thing was mine to finance. I called Nate. He picked up on the first ring. "You saw it?" he asked. "Yeah," I said. "They used everything. Full contact information. Even my work email. So it's deliberate. It's identity, not just money." "You want me to back out?" he asked. "I'll refund them and ghost the job. Say my calendar shifted." "No," I said, almost too fast. "Stay in. Just stay smart." "I'm not a cowboy," he said, "but if I can pull doc copies, I will. Photographs, sign-ins, email headers, whatever's in range, copy everything." He paused. "You sure you want to see all of it?" "I need to." That weekend, I didn't talk to Lauren. We shared a house, a table, a bed, but the air between us felt like walking through fog. She cooked like normal, paid the electric bill, made jokes while folding towels. But none of it landed. I didn't ask her questions. She didn't offer answers. Sunday morning, while she was getting ready for church with her parents, I pulled open my laptop and refreshed the Dropbox Nate shared. New uploads. Vendor packet from Koya Catering. Timeline summary from Redwood Vista. Guest list with delivery notes. The folder names were clean, professional. The kind of thing you'd expect from a six-figure wedding. But they weren't mine. And my name was stamped all over them. That was the line for me. Not the dollars. Not even the card number. It was seeing my full identity packaged and passed around like it belonged to someone else. I kept the folder open on my laptop all week. Every morning before work, I checked for new uploads like I was waiting on test results I already knew would be bad. Nate started going to vendor meetings under the excuse of planning shot lists. Said nobody blinked. He was polite, wore clean shoes, carried 2 camera bodies, asked just enough questions to look engaged. The kind of presence people overlooked because he wasn't loud. That made him dangerous in the best way. Every meeting he'd snap quick photos when contracts got passed around. Folded corners, highlighted totals, signatures in blue ink, some real, some printed. The Redwood Vista file had one that stopped me cold. A physical card on file, ending in 2829, with my full name embossed. Not typed, embossed, which meant someone hadn't just copied my number. They'd ordered a card in my name. Not virtual, not digital. Plastic, with a chip. I called the bank to confirm. They said a replacement card had been requested 5 weeks back. Standard account holder authorization, the rep said, like it was routine. Mailed to an alternate address, verified by the caller. "Which address?" I asked. The woman hesitated. "Sorry, we can't disclose the delivery location over the phone." I sat at my desk and stared at the wall until my screensaver kicked in. 2 days later, Nate uploaded another batch. Koya Catering's intake file had a scan of a driver's license. Mine. Not a fake one. Not a mock-up. Mine. Same photo from 6 years ago. the one I'd emailed Lauren when we refinanced the townhome. It had been in our inbox history. She had access. She'd saved it to a shared drive. The cropping was sloppy, like whoever submitted it didn't care about the edges. Just needed enough to pass billing verification. I clicked through the rest of the images, chest tight, ears ringing. Then came the hit I didn't expect. It was a screenshot, a text thread. Nate said he found it open on the shared vendor iPad during a walkthrough. Said someone must have left the message tab open like an idiot. The thread was between Tyler and Lauren. Tyler. Just float deposits on E's card. I'll reimburse after brand deals. Lauren. Don't tell me amounts. Just make it quick. He'll freak if he sees big numbers. I read it 3 times. The first time I felt nothing. The second, I felt heat crawling up the back of my neck. The third, I felt everything at once. She'd known. Maybe not the full scope, but enough. Enough to know something shady was happening. Enough to ask for distance from the numbers. Not to stop it, but to protect herself when it blew up. I didn't scream. I didn't confront her. I didn't even go upstairs. I walked the dog that night longer than I ever had. Around the block twice, down to the gas station, across the back field behind the townhome row. I didn't say a word, just walked with my hands in my pockets and my jaw locked. When we got home, I opened a separate checking account online. 5 minutes. I redirected my paycheck and scheduled a transfer out of our joint savings for the end of the month. Just enough to raise a flag, not a war. Quiet moves. The next morning, I called Detective Ruiz and asked to meet in person. She picked a coffee shop near the precinct. Plain place, fluorescent lights, stale donuts in a wire basket. I slid her a USB drive. Nate had labeled the folder, Documentation, Priority. She plugged it in and started scrolling without asking a single question. After a minute, she nodded once. This is thorough. She flipped through contracts, text screenshots, vendor logs, and side notes Nate had typed in all caps at the bottom of some files. Timestamps, delivery IPs, camera angles. The guy was precise. Lauren? Ruiz asked after a while. I took a breath. I don't want her arrested. I want the truth out. I want my name cleared. She looked up from the screen. Intent matters. But you can't protect people from their own choices. I know, I said. But I'm not ready to burn the house down. Not yet. She closed the laptop, slid the USB into an evidence bag. We'll prep a warrant for records, credit issuer, venue files, maybe pull email headers. If you find anything else, send it straight. Got it. Ruiz stood up, tossed her napkin, and left with the bag in hand like it was just another Tuesday. That night, I ate cold pasta alone and stared at the silent TV. Lauren was upstairs watching some Netflix series I didn't recognize anymore. We barely talked. Then Nate texted again. One more thing. You might want to see this. Attached was a photo of a printed invoice from the rehearsal dinner caterer. Typed line items. Charges matched the earlier batch. But the signature block at the bottom had my name. Sloppy cursive, half-formed letters like someone who hadn't practiced it. Fake. Forged. Above it was a forwarded email chain. Donna had shared it with the group. Kara, Lauren, Tyler, even a couple of cousins. Subject line? Tyler's hustle is unmatched. I sat in my car with that printout open on my lap, parked in the clinic lot, engine off, lights dimmed. My hands sat on the steering wheel until the tingling in my arms faded. Looking back, I should have seen it sooner. The little jokes Tyler made about sponsors, the way Donna called me lucky instead of responsible, the way Lauren never asked what the catering bill looked like, just assumed it'd be covered. They didn't think I'd check. They thought I'd swallow it, pay it, move on. That was their mistake. Ruiz laid out the plan 2 days before the wedding. We met in her unmarked at a diner parking lot off Route 33. She had her laptop open on the center console and a yellow legal pad balanced on her knee. She didn't waste time. We let the wedding proceed until the vows, she said, flipping a page. Entry will be controlled. No chaos. Our units will give a 2-second siren chirp as we step in. Standard freeze protocol so nobody bolts. We'll be on site. DA signed the affidavit for the warrant. Probable cause is strong. Define the trigger, I asked. Any sign of flight, interference, or a public claim that you forged anything? If none, we still step in at the vows to minimize risk while he's contained at the altar. I passed her a folder, neatly tabbed, labeled, clean. Contracts, vendor contact sheets, card photos, email headers. The screenshot of Tyler's wallet with my card tucked beside his gym pass. And the text thread. That one sat on top like a nail waiting for a hammer. She flipped through, nodded once. This is clean. Well documented. DA won't have to dig. I leaned back against her car and let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. She tucked the folder away and looked at me, dead level. Don't try to manage this scene, she said. You're not the fixer. You're the victim. I didn't like the sound of that word. I didn't say it out loud, but I didn't like it. That night I called Nate, told him we were locked in. Camera stays rolling, I said, but if it gets physical, I don't do fists, he cut in. I do focus. He was calm, but I knew him well enough to hear the tension under the joke. He'd seen the footage, same as me. He'd seen the lie play out in black and white. My name, dragged and inked and passed around like hotel stationery. The next night, I set the folder on our kitchen island. Lauren was pouring wine and stopped mid-motion. I didn't say anything. I just opened the folder, flipped it to the screenshot, and stepped back. She stared at it, blinked slow. Her hand didn't move. I thought it was just deposits, she said finally. I figured your bonus could float it until Tyler paid us back. She said us like we were still a team. My voice was low but clear. You don't spend my name, Lauren. That's not a deposit. That's me. She shook her head, lips pressed together like she could still pretend this was a misunderstanding. I didn't know it was this much, she whispered. I told him not to tell me. Because you knew it was wrong. She didn't deny it. She just stood there and looked small. I didn't reach for her. I didn't want to. Her phone buzzed on the counter. She swiped it and accidentally hit speaker. Donna's voice came through like a damn foghorn. Make sure Ethan wears a proper suit tomorrow. Appearances matter. Especially after that whole bonus fiasco, I reached over and hit end call before she could say another word. Lauren didn't try to stop me. The next morning, I got a ping from work. One of the vendors had run a soft credit check and flagged my profile. The system automatically placed a courtesy hold on my network access. I called my manager, told him what happened. To his credit, he didn't flinch. You still have the detective's contact? Yeah. You want her direct line? Send it. We'll handle it by lunch. Ruiz had spoken to HR, confirmed the investigation, and got the hold pulled. I stayed at my desk the rest of the day, mostly to stay out of my house. That night, I printed 2 full copies of the folder. One for Ruiz, one for me. I slid mine into a black plastic binder, the cheap kind you buy at Staples last minute for school projects, and put it in the glove box. It didn't look like much, but it was the weight of everything. My name, my evidence, my refusal to let this slide. Nate came by that evening to test a side rig we'd talked about. HDMI cable from his main camera body to the projector system at Redwood Vista. Just in case. If the sound cuts or anyone tries to claim this is faked, he said, I hit a button, and boom, wallet shot, card close-up, and the text thread, full screen, 2-second delay. Won't need it, I said. He raised a brow. But we'll have it. That was the backup plan. Silent, simple. Just enough rope for Tyler to hang himself with, if he pushed. I moved the last of our cash from the joint, checking into my new high-yield solo account. Not to hide it, just to stop the bleeding. I also put a freeze on all the old cards and opened 2 new ones. One for essentials, one for emergencies. Quiet revenge is mostly paperwork. Most people don't teach you that. It's not screaming in someone's face. It's separating the auto payments from the joint card while they're brushing their teeth. It's changing passwords to utilities and flagging subscriptions for cancellation. It's preparing for the storm with a raincoat and an umbrella while everyone else is still sunbathing. Ruiz called once more that night. "Everything's in place," she said. "We'll be in the back pews. Civil, unless forced. Copy that." Before bed, I made sure the glove box folder was still there. Snapped it shut. Lauren came down in sweatpants, hair tied back. She stood at the bottom of the stairs but didn't come closer. "I didn't want to hurt you," she said quietly. I didn't answer. I just picked up my pillow from the couch and turned off the hallway light. It wasn't anger. It was something colder than that. Distance. That night, I lay on the couch and stared at the ceiling. Not because I was mad, because I wanted the door between us. Morning of the wedding came too fast. I hadn't slept much. Not from nerves, just calculation. I'd replayed the timing, the setup, the folder in the glove box, the pressure point if it came to it. My suit was pressed, tie knotted, shoes clean. No one could say I came to start something. Redwood Vista looked like a wedding catalog had thrown up on it. It sat high on the bluff, overlooking the river, surrounded by pines with the parking lot lined with polished SUVs and guest shuttles. You could smell fresh-cut florals before you even stepped inside. Everything gleamed. Everything whispered, "Money." And I knew exactly whose money that was. Organist music floated through the open chapel doors. Cocktail hour had its own guitarist posted up by the fountain, tuning his strings with a forced smile. There was a welcome sign with hand-lettered calligraphy and a photo of Tyler and Kara kissing in a field. Probably cost $400 to print. Tyler walked around like he owned the hill, fist-bumped groomsmen, adjusted his cuffs like he was waiting for a magazine shoot. At one point I caught him laughing with the drone guy, pointing up to the roofline. "Epic roof shot," he said, hands stretched out wide. He was glowing. Smug didn't even begin to cover it. I stood near the path to the chapel entrance, just watching. Donna came up behind me, wrapped her arms around me like we were the best of friends. She smelled like vanilla lotion and control. "Family first," she said. Same voice she used to tell me I wasn't enough. Her tone said, "Mind your place," even if her words didn't. Clark followed a second later, shook my hand with the same sports bar grip he always used. "You catch the score last night?" he asked. I didn't answer. Just gave him the same nod I used when rebooting a server while pretending not to lose my mind. Lauren arrived just before the ushers started seating guests. Hair perfect, dress sleek, lip color the same one I bought her last Christmas. She hadn't worn it since. She stood close to me but didn't touch. Didn't smile either. There was something broken between us, and we both knew it. She leaned in. "Please don't make a scene." I looked at her like a stranger. "That depends on your brother." We didn't speak again. Kara appeared on the chapel steps a few minutes later, surrounded by 3 bridesmaids and a cousin fussing with her veil. Her dress had at least 1,000 buttons, probably more. Lace, sparkle, embroidered initials inside the train. I heard one of the girls say it had to be custom. I didn't doubt it. And Kara. She looked happy. Not just bridal glow happy, but untouched, like she had no idea what she was standing on top of. That hit me sideways. I know it shouldn't have, but it did. Inside, I took my seat 2 rows from the front, far side. The vendor row was full, photographer, live painter already sketching the arch, floral assistants adjusting things last minute. There was even a bartender already prepping signature drinks under the tent outside. It was excess wrapped in linen napkins. Nate was already in position. He had a mic clipped to the pastor's lapel and another recorder set under the first pew. He moved smooth, quiet, professional, like none of it rattled him. As he passed by, he gave me the nod we'd practiced. Just a blink and a tilt. My stomach didn't flinch. My phone buzzed once in my jacket pocket. "Ruiz, we're here. No drama. Just confirmation." The plan sliding into place, quiet as a lock turning. People started filing in, program fans fluttering, phones out, little kids whining about their collars. Someone spilled something on the aisle runner, and a guy in a vest scrubbed it with a white cloth like his job was life or death. Donna made the rounds like a campaign manager, smiling with her teeth, air-kissing guests, adjusting Kara's mom's corsage. She stopped once to stare at me, probably gauging the damage. I just blinked and looked away. Clark sat near the aisle and started talking to the guy next to him about tailgates and college ball, like none of this cost anyone anything, like this wasn't a crime scene wrapped in flowers. I clocked the projector rig Nate had linked up earlier. Cable routed to his camera, backup remote in his suit pocket. We'd practiced the delay, 5 seconds from click to display. One press and it would show the still of Tyler's wallet, the shot of my name on the card, the video clip of him laughing about, "He's got it." We hoped we wouldn't need it. Ruiz had told me, no chaos, controlled entry on a brief siren cue unless escalation forces more. But we both knew weddings were built for public scenes. The stage was already set. A hush settled as Kara walked up the path with her dad, veil lifted slightly in the breeze. The guitarist shifted to something soft and slow, and the organist picked up the melody with a delay that made it sound nervous. Everyone stood, phones up, flashes popping. Tyler turned to face the aisle, back straight, head high. That same self-satisfied look on his face, like he'd pulled something off. Like he believed the lie completely now. And then he looked right at me, held my eye, and winked. It wasn't playful, it was smug. Like he knew I couldn't touch him. Like I'd backed off. Like he'd won. I didn't move, didn't blink, just stared back. The doors closed behind Kara. The guests sat down. The pastor cleared his throat and opened his binder. I counted his breaths. 3, before he began. That's when I exhaled slow and thought of my first day running cables at Westview, hands shaking under the panels. How I'd had to fix a server that blinked red the moment I logged in. How my fingers found steadiness anyway. This was no different. The network was on fire. And I knew exactly where the cables led. The pastor had just reached the vows. Kara stood with both hands shaking around her bouquet, trying to smile through the nerves. Tyler shifted his weight like a man about to take a bow. The words were midair. "Do you, Kara, take this man?" When the cruisers outside gave a brief 2-second siren chirp per protocol. Tight. Sharp. No fading buildup, just a controlled cue that froze the room without panic. The organist's hands stalled mid-note. People turned like a flock, heads snapping toward the doors. Then came the silence, and then the doors opened. Detective Ruiz walked in first, slow and steady like she'd rehearsed it a dozen times. Hall followed, calm, unreadable. Both in plain suits, badges raised, voices ready. "Tyler Jensen," Ruiz said, projecting without yelling. "You are under arrest for identity theft and credit card fraud." The silence cracked. Someone gasped. One of the bridesmaids actually dropped her bouquet. Tyler laughed. It wasn't confident. It was weak, forced, desperate. "Wait, what? This is a joke, right? Is this a bit?" He turned to Kara, tried to smile, then looked straight at me. "It's him," he said, pointing like a kid caught with a broken lamp. "He's framing me. He's jealous. He's always hated my success. This is payback for the bachelor party stuff." A couple of guests snorted. Success hit different when you were being arrested at your own wedding. His brand wasn't looking so professional now. Donna leapt to her feet. "This is a wedding! You people can't just... This is my son." Ruiz didn't flinch. "Ma'am, please sit." She did. It wasn't a request. She dropped into the pew like the floor disappeared. Kara didn't move for a full 5 seconds. Then her face emptied out. All the color, all the energy, all the softness, gone. She looked at Tyler and said, "Just loud enough. Ty?" He reached toward her, tried to take her hand. She backed up a step. That's when he knocked over the unity candle. Caught it with his elbow. Wax hit the runner. One of the bridesmaids squealed like someone had been shot. Nate didn't flinch. He stayed behind his camera, lens locked on the moment. That mic was still hot. The footage was still rolling. I hadn't moved yet. But when Tyler opened his mouth again, when he said, "I don't even have his card," I reached into my coat pocket. Nate lifted his hand. That was the cue. I tapped the projector remote. The screen behind the altar blinked blue for half a second. Then it lit up. First, the still image. Tyler's wallet on the vendor table. Open, sloppy. My credit card. My name, full emboss, right there beside his gym card, and a crumpled $10. Then came the clip. Tyler, in a hoodie and ball cap, grinning at some florist's assistant. "He's got it," he said, laughing. "He's family. He'll never say no to Lauren." The audio echoed in the chapel like someone had opened a confession booth with a bullhorn. Kara turned to look at the screen. Her mouth opened slightly, but nothing came out. I swear she didn't even blink. Then came the invoice. Rehearsal dinner. Forged signature in shaky cursive. The line below, billing contact, Ethan Cole. Lauren gasped, grabbed my arm. "Turn it off," she whispered. I didn't. I let it run just long enough to make sure everyone saw the name on the bottom. Mine. Then I hit the button again, and the screen went black. Hall stepped forward and took Tyler's wrists, cuffed him smooth, quick, no resistance. Ruiz read off the charges like she was listing groceries, one by one. Identity theft, fraudulent use of a financial instrument, wire fraud, conspiracy to commit. People gasped again. Not dramatic movie gasps, real ones. The kind that sound like someone's world just cracked open. Some folks stood. Some sat back like they'd been punched. No one said a word. Tyler turned his head and locked eyes with Kara. "Babe, I was going to tell you. It was temporary. I had the money coming in. Sponsorships. I was covering the dream. For us, she didn't speak. Didn't even nod. That silence hurt more than Ruiz's badge. Donna was frozen in place, hands clasped tight, like she was waiting for prayer to change the outcome. Clark finally moved, looked at the pastor, then at me, then back at Tyler. Didn't say a word. Lauren let go of my arm. Her hand slid away like she'd just realized who she was holding. I didn't look at her. I didn't need to. Because I already knew the answer to the question I'd been afraid to ask for weeks. Did she really think I wouldn't find out? Tyler shouted something as Hall walked him out. Something about lawyers. About this isn't over. About I've got rights. No one listened. And I just stood there. Not smug. Not gloating. Just still. Like a guy who had finally stopped second-guessing himself. Like a man who knew where the damn cables led and had pulled the right one. The chapel emptied like someone had yelled fire. Nobody waited for a closing prayer. No line for hugs. No bouquet toss. Just rustling suits, clicking heels, and the kind of silence that makes you aware of your own breathing. Vendors moved fast. The floral crew yanked centerpieces off the tables like they were unpaid. The caterers packed their trays like it was a crime scene, which technically it was. Even the guitarist dipped without unplugging his amp. The live painter didn't say a word. He just carried his half-finished canvas outside, laid it face down in the grass, and lit a cigarette behind the shed. I stood near the chapel doors, waiting on nothing. Donna came storming out of the side hallway, sharp heels stabbing the tile like a threat. "This is your fault," she hissed. "You could have handled this discreetly. You could have fixed this. You humiliated this family." I didn't flinch. I pulled Ruiz's card from my jacket pocket and held it out. "Speak to the detective," I said. "She deals with criminals." "Not me." She stared at the card like it had burned her fingers. Then she turned and stomped off, muttering something about appearances. That was the first clean line I'd ever drawn with her. Took me 8 years to get there. Felt like 5 seconds too late and still exactly on time. Lauren didn't come home with me. She went with her parents. She said she needed space. I nodded. Space was already there. That night, I changed the garage code, unlinked her name from the utilities, locked down the joint accounts, and pulled my name from the streaming services and grocery apps. Small, boring things. But every click felt like a stitch closing a wound. 2 days later, Kara called. Her voice cracked before she even got past hello. "I'm so sorry," she said. "I didn't see it. I thought he was building something. I really believed him. I didn't say much. Just told her she didn't owe me anything. I told her to get a lawyer and protect herself. She said she already had one." She thanked me and hung up. Tyler didn't drag it out. He took a plea. 18 months inside, plus restitution and supervised release. The charges were too clean to fight. Nate's footage, the emails, the forged signature. There was no wiggle room. Once his mugshot hit the fitness forums, every sponsor dropped him. His brand was done before the county processed him. The fallout wasn't just legal. Vendors started calling. Some friendly, some not. A few sent letters from lawyers, demanding repayment for chargebacks. A couple tried to lean on me, saying my signature had authorized the invoices. That's when Ruiz stepped in. She sent a statement from the DA's office with the case file attached. It cleared my name, every single charge pinned on Tyler. One of the florists still sent a handwritten note. She said she hoped I got peace. That one I kept. Work stayed solid. HR called me in quietly, behind closed doors. "You were proactive," my director said. "You told the truth, gave us case info up front. We appreciate it. I didn't expect that to hit as hard as it did, but it did." Some of that provider shame I'd been dragging around for years started to lift. Just a little. Lauren and I went to counseling twice. Once in person, once virtual. The second time she cried hard enough that I believed it wasn't fake. "I thought it was just deposits," she said again. "I thought you'd be mad, but get over it." I didn't think it would go this far. I didn't yell. I didn't say much at all. Because every time she said deposits, what I heard was, "I spent you." That summer, I filed for legal separation. Not for revenge, not to punish, just to draw the line where no one else would. We split the house proceeds that fall when the Trenton place sold for more than either of us expected. I let her keep the patio furniture. I took the toolbox. There was no screaming, no court fights, just signatures and silence. One night that October, Nate and I grabbed beers at a place off Henderson Road. He didn't bring it up until we were halfway through a basket of wings. "I saved the footage," he said. "The full set. Projector cuts, raw mic audio, vendor folder. I put it on a drive, labeled it for you." He slid it across the table in a black case. No label on the outside, just a sticker on the inside, for when you doubt yourself. I didn't cry. I didn't get dramatic. I just nodded. "I'm not going to watch it," I said. "You don't have to. Knowing it's real, that's enough." A year later, I was living in a small one-story ranch on a quiet street in Upper Arlington. Nothing fancy. No HOA rules, no designer finishes, just a good roof, a strong front door, and a kitchen that got sunlight around 9 each morning. The backyard had enough space for the dog to run, and that was enough for me. The divorce didn't end in screaming, just more paperwork than talking. Lauren and I signed in silence. The judge read the terms, made sure we understood. She cried in the hallway outside the clerk's office, said she was sorry. I told her I believed her. That was true, but it didn't change a damn thing. Donna never called, not once. Not after court, not after the house sale, not after Tyler got sentenced. She disappeared the way people do when they're embarrassed, but not enough to change. Clark sent a text about a Buckeyes game one Saturday. No intro, just a score update. Took him 3 minutes to realize he'd messaged the wrong Ethan from his contacts list. His follow-up said, "Sorry, wrong Ethan." I laughed so hard I choked on my coffee. Tyler got out early. Good behavior, minimum facility. He posted a long video from his bedroom a few weeks later, soft lighting, hoodie pulled halfway up like he was in mourning for himself. He talked about growth, lessons, and mental clarity. The video had more jump cuts than a Marvel trailer. I watched exactly 45 seconds of it. He still owes me. Restitution payments show up maybe once every 2 months. Never more than a few $100s. I don't cash them right away. I just let them sit in the inbox like proof that truth has weight. But they're not the point. The point is, I stopped letting other people define what family meant. It used to sound like a nice idea, some motivational Instagram crap, but it's not poetic. It's practical. It means freezing your credit. It means saying no without guilt. It means keeping the damn folder. I still have it. Same black plastic binder I stashed in the glove box before the wedding. Still has the coffee stain on the edge from the night I printed the rehearsal invoice. The fake signature still makes my stomach twist when I glance at it. But I kept it. Not to stew, just to remind myself that my gut was right. That I'm not crazy for checking. That silence is not the same as peace. I kept the screenshot of Tyler's message too. Just float deposits on E's card. I don't open the file often, but when I do, I remember the feeling I had when I first saw it. That cold clarity. That shift from doubt to proof. Nate and I still talk once a week. Mostly about normal stuff. Clients, bad Wi-Fi, camera gear. We did a free gig for a charity 5K last spring that used Redwood's backlot for parking. He filmed. I managed sound. We paid every vendor full rate and left the place better than we found it. It felt like setting something back where it belonged. Like fixing a frame on the wall that had been crooked too long. Sometimes people ask if I regret turning the wedding into a scene. My answer's always the same. I didn't turn anything. I just held up a light. The ugly was already there. The sirens did their job. If there's revenge in any of this, it's quiet. It's that I still have my name. It's that I didn't lie for him. It's that Lauren had to sit across from a judge and say out loud that she chose to look away. I don't need fire and fury. I don't need crowds or speeches. When a day gets heavy, I open the glove box. I run my fingers over the edge of that cheap plastic folder. I don't even open it anymore. I just remind myself the line's still there, and I'm on the right side of it. Have you ever ignored your gut to keep the peace with family and paid the price? Drop your story in the comments. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe. It's just one click for you, but it means everything to us. And if this story hit home, leave a comment, even just great story. It really supports the channel.
YouTube picked this for you. Tap it. Let's see if they guessed right.